Escaping side control. So this is probably the most common question someone will have when they first start jiu-jitsu is how to escape side control. And that's because it is probably, out of all, might be the most difficult position to escape from. It's really important that you recognize the different types of side control, because if you're trying to escape the wrong type of side control, then it's not going to work. Okay, so there's the standard side control, which is basically crossface and underhook here. There is call this like essentially scarf hold, where the person will roll their hips in. Okay, so I'm facing George with my hips here. It can be like this, or occasionally people will even do that. So I'm under the arm here. Sometimes people will do that over the arm, gripping the head here too. Okay, this is a common judo pin actually, which people use to hold people down in judo. There is also switch-based side control, where instead of my hips facing this way, I'm now going to switch my hips facing the other way, where usually the arm is either over the top of this arm or potentially underneath this arm. Okay, and then lastly, a variant from when we're on side control, which is pretty common, is coming up onto knee on belly. It's not side control, but it's something that is achieved from side control actually. And one other one is north-south too, okay, where the person will walk their feet around and get into a position like this where we're in. It's called north-south. Okay, so each of these really has its own unique way of trying to defend it. And as I said, if you're trying to defend all side controls in one way, then it's not going to work. Preventing them from establishing a good a side control in the first place. Okay, so essentially, if you can, I want to keep this structure with my knees tight and my arms in front blocking. So essentially we'll get all four frames as they try to establish side control. So imagine that they're starting to pass guard. I want to get these frames early, block the firearm from grabbing my head, block my opponent from getting this space between my knees and my chest. If you get that, you can just continue the late stage of any of the escapes we worked before. Okay. We will be working from a lot when they actually have flattened you out and they've got good control, but preferably you don't let that actually happen. Okay, so now the borrow Ed, he comes here. So as he starts to pass, I'm going to be looking to keep my bottom knee protecting this space so he can't get in this gap. I'm going to be looking to get my top knee in front of the shoulder so he can't pressure down. He can't actually control my hip like he can here. Now he can control my hip. I'm going to try and keep his head and his shoulder away. So framing here using my elbow, and I'm going to be blocking this arm from cross-facing. Okay? If you get this early, this is not a great position for Ed to pass from. I should have a very good chance of just getting back and recovering my guard. So that's the posture we're looking to get early on before they actually establish side control. So standard side control would be a cross face and an underhook, where essentially George is chest to chest and his hips are facing down. Okay. Now, what are the controls George is going to want to have from here? He wants to be having this underhook. He doesn't want me to be able to frame with his hand, so he's usually going to have his head nice and tight. So see, I can't push him away with my arm here. Okay. If we go around, he's going to have pressure through his shoulder onto my neck and or my jaw, which kind of to alleviate it makes me turn away from him. I need to turn towards him to get an effective escape going. Okay, so he's going to have good pressure with this, what we call a cross face. Okay, we go around this side. His knee here will be inside, and his hip will be inside the line of my elbow. This is a key battle that's going to be fought here. I want to have my elbow blocking his hip as a frame. He's going to want to try and have his knee in nice and close here. Okay, and then he's got a few options to attack from here. So let's turn back around again. One thing he might do is try to transition into the mount. He might start bringing his knee across and start to work in towards the mount position. So we need to make sure we're defending that. He might start to pull me in and attack the arm lock here. So I've got this arm here. He might start to attack that. A lot of the time he's going to transition into other types of side control, which will essentially If that happens, then I want you to focus on going to that section in terms of how to deal with that. But he might turn to face his hips in here, or potentially to swing his arm over the top as well, or walk to, and even walk towards north-south. 2, or knee on belly, okay, where he puts his knee up on the belly here. Okay, so he could go from this standard side control. He's got a lot of options to transition. If I'm starting to defend, he might change to these other ones. Okay, so as I said, go to those sections, and you want to start your defenses for them as early as possible if he starts to change. All right, so the most important thing is, at first, is I want to create frames and distance. Okay, so right now, George being chest to chest is a real problem for me. If you back off for a moment, George, what I would rather have is have my arms in the way and my legs in the way, like this. This is now very hard for George to put his weight on me, okay, because of the frames I've got. So you can see here, I actually have all of my limbs active. My left leg is blocking his shoulder. My right leg is blocking his hip from coming in. My right arm's gonna block this arm from gripping the crossface, and my left arm's gonna keep his head away. Okay, so that's what I'm aiming to get. Once I achieve that, I've got a good chance of recovering my legs. Okay. We're going to cover 2 different types of escapes. One is where I get my frames and I recover my legs back, and the other is I get my frames, but he's running away, and so moving around, and I return to my knees into a front headlock position. All right, so now we're going to go through how to get each of these frames. Okay, so I can anywhere I can frame is good. Okay, if I can frame with my left leg, my right arm, or my left arm first, I don't care which one comes first, take it. Okay, so if he lifted his head up, I would take the head frame first. If not, if I've got a gap to put my arm into the hip, I'll take that first. If I can't get that, but I can get my leg in, I'll take that, or even sometimes, usually this will come secondary, but if I could get my top leg in, I'd put that as well. So you kind of want to have the skill set to get any frame if it's available. And actually, the more they fight one, the more they'll often open space up to give you the next. Okay. So let's talk about this elbow frame first. Okay. So what I want to do, George is going to apply like good pressure, and he wants to turn me away. If his hips can't follow me, if he can't drive his hips forward, it's going to be hard to maintain that frame, that pressure. Okay. So if I can, I want to move my head and my shoulders away like this. So I do a little side curl. Okay. See now, if I drop my elbow, it will start to get in the line of this hip. If you look before, I pull my elbow down, it's blocked. Okay. So a little kind of shimmy away with my shoulders, and I can get that elbow in. And then once you get it, you actually want to push back. So I'm not just like here, kind of like staying tight. I'm actually like actively pushing with my forearm against his hip. One important thing here, when you get this frame, don't put your hand here with your elbow out. If George were to slowly roll his hips in, that can put a lot of pressure on my wrist and potentially injure me. Okay. It is actually okay sometimes to push with the hand, but that's only if it's out extended and my elbow's locked by my side. Drop your hips now. Okay. Yeah, nothing happened to my wrist. It just kind of goes like that. If it's like this, this will be injured. Okay. So again, we can shimmy our shoulders away and drop our elbow in, and then we push like with this part of my elbow into his hip to make space. Now, as I start to make more space, that will often become a frame here, okay, on the hip, right? So that's our first frame. I can frame with my left hand here. Now, this frame is very common and really important. Where I want to get this frame, I'm not going to try and push with my hand on his neck. This will be bad. And actually, what could be really bad is if George puts his head underneath my arm. Okay, this is a horrible position because I can't use my hand to block the mount anymore. Okay, if we go back, having my hand here, if he happened to try to go to mount, I could use my arm to block. Okay, but if I go here, I'm in danger. I can't do that. And he could also start to set up what we call a head-arm choke. So there's a choke he can do too. So throughout all of this, never open your elbow like that. Okay. So I want to get my hand underneath, and it's not floating. I want to grip onto, there's this bone here. You'll feel on the scapula, on the shoulder blade. I want you to grip over that bone and grip that tight. Once you've got that, you can lift your elbow up towards him, but not open. Okay. If I open, he can slip his head. If I push up, kind of staying under his chin, try and slip your head here, George. Okay, if he's trying to, you have to track it. So try and slip your head, like drop your elbow, and then as he comes back, we keep opening. Okay. Now what this will do, you get this frame, it will sort of put a little bit of choking pressure on George. It's not enough that he's gonna like tap to a choke. We're not trying to do that. It just takes some pressure off. Okay, so if George wants to put as much weight as he's comfortable with, it's not gonna be as much as if I didn't have that frame there and he starts to really hammer his shoulder into my neck. Okay, so one of the best ways to relieve that pressure, maybe you grip onto this shoulder for a moment, or maybe you frame the hip and we start working our frame in underneath the neck. Now, how do we go about doing this? Don't go over like this, because then you've just given your elbow. I want to swim my hand through under and then come up, or there's another time which we actually pummel our hand across the face. I'll show you how we do that in a moment. So if it's difficult to get this, George might be keeping his head nice and tight and it's hard to get my hand in. What we're going to do is bridge and push his head away. So what I mean by bridge, I put my foot out wide, I start to lift my hips up and turning to my left and pushing my shoulder into George. Okay. See how my shoulder's up and connected to his head? My elbow can swim back underneath and I swim my hand through. Okay. So again, if it's tight, that hand doesn't go through. Shoulder in, hand swims back, and we can get underneath the neck here. Okay. Once we're there, we're applying that upward pressure. So another option here, we can do the bridge again. When you do the bridge, make sure you're like connected with your like shoulder and bicep before you do it. There's no point bridging while there's a gap here that won't like pressure properly. I want to have the pressure already on his head, and then when I drive through my legs, it moves him. Okay. Sometimes you feel like coming back, he's going to be too tight for that, and you can scrape your forearm over the face and through. Okay, it's not the nicest thing. To be honest, I don't use this too much unless I'm having a very rough roll, but it is a good way to get your forearm back in under the neck. All right, so we're going to talk about framing with our inside leg, our bottom leg now. Okay, so this is something I think a lot of people do wrong. Okay, I think it's often taught wrong compared to what I think is the right way anyway. So what I want to do with this leg is I want to hook, near the ankle almost, pushing with my leg, almost straightening my leg. Okay, watch what happens when I straighten my leg. It moves my hips far away. Okay, this makes it harder if George is trying to control my hips. He's very extended. He's got a lot of space that I can work with to pummel other frames through. Okay, if you do what I commonly see, so see how I'm actively pushing this way with my ankle, and I'm keeping constant tension with this. What I see a lot is people try to push with their knee. Okay, coming close to the hip, George. Okay, now he's got my hip, and it's not very good positioning for me. It's much better if I'm doing this. Okay, try and control my hip now. Should feel a lot harder. Okay, now what I think people are doing, if you turn around, George. Don't be fooled into this. People often, why people bring their knee in is they think it's about bringing your knee across to recover guard. Okay, if I bring my knee, then they think, oh, I bring my knee through and then I bring my foot through. That is so hard to do against someone who has a bit of an idea of what to do, because George just keeps pressure with his hips and my foot will never free. Okay, my foot will be able to free, move that, sorry, just move that. My foot will be able to free if I have distance with my hips. See, I've extended my leg, now my foot can free. And now I've recovered my guard. It will not free by bringing my knee first and then I get jammed. Okay, this will work if George doesn't know what he's doing and he gets here and drives at me. Okay, now my foot will free. But if he actually knows what he's doing and jams his hips in, I just made it really, like I had a good chance to do something good and now he's blocked it. Okay, extend with this leg and have your hips away. So how do we get this leg in? Now, first off, this leg should I always try to keep it attached either near the hip or to his torso. Wherever he moves, like he might switch base, he might turn, he might be going towards mount. This is always going to block that. Okay, so try and go to mount. Okay, see how my leg blocked him going to mount here. Okay, if my knee's away from my chest and I give him a chance to bring his knee across, this starts to get very bad. Okay, so my legs always staying tight, it could be here or here, and then I want to hip escape. When I hip escape, let's turn, watch this. When I hip escape, my knee here will drop inside the hip. Okay, I drop that through, ankle attaches, and I push away. Okay, so again, if I can hip escape, we do this. Now, what stops the hip escape, this is a really important principle, is if George puts his elbow against my hip. Now he's blocked my hip escape. So if I try and do the same thing, I can't. To move his elbow away from my hips, I want to pull his head in line with my head. See how he's very cross-body? If I use my arm here to pull his head in line, try and control my hips now, George, I should be able to hip through that very easy. Okay? He's very extended through that arm. That's not going to have control of the hips. Okay? If he goes head down near the hips, okay, now there's no way I'm freeing my hips. So if you get stuck here and you feel like you've got a chance to, you can hook the head, pull your foot out wide, bridge and hip escape. So bridge to get his head up, hip escape to free your hips, and now I have that frame. All right, so we want to frame with our left leg as well. This can be a little harder to get. If I don't have any other frames, it's very hard to get my left leg in front of George's body. Okay, but often it can come after I either get the frame on the chin or with my left forearm, or it can come after I get my bottom leg frame. Okay, so if you look here, my bottom leg frame is in place. Right now I can't get my leg, but when I move my hips away, now my knees can go together and my leg flares out, and I want to put it in front of the shoulder here with my foot stepping on the back. Okay, so see, let's turn now, George, so they can see from front. I want to get this frame here, okay, directly pointing at the shoulder. So if he tries to drive in at me, it's like my leg just keeps him off. It's great at keeping his weight off me. Okay, and if he tries to squash my leg down, my foot being on the back here will reinforce that. Okay. Now the other way you can get it, sometimes it will look like this, where if George is led forward a bit, you might, instead of framing away, like sometimes you can't frame his head that way, but it goes straight up. Sometimes now if I hip out, I can get my left leg first, or my right leg, and then once you get that can lift and let your right leg come. So see that? Once I've got gap with this leg, my other leg can go together and open out to the hip, and now I take my hip frame again.
All right, so here I am rolling with Matty, and Matty, we're starting from side control with bad positioning in that he's already got his crossface and underhook, so I'm going to have to work for my positioning back. So you can see here, all right, I've managed to get one frame. I've already got my right arm framing the hip as well. So I actually have two frames here, and he's done the right thing. He moves lower down on the body, so I have much less purchase with two upper body frames if he moves away from those arms, where I can't actually, he's kind of like not giving me his weight to offload. Okay, so now I'm starting to try to hip escape to try to get my bottom leg in while maintaining that pressure. You'll notice Matty has switched his base, so it's a little bit like the switch base side control, or the Kesagatami, sorry. And now he's blocked the hip, but I managed to get my top frame. And then I managed to do, I think I do a little invert here to recover my guy. Oh no, I don't. I managed to trap his leg, move his head into the middle, and I've trapped into the half guard. So what you should see from that is really that you want to build upon the frames you've had, that you already have. So let's have a look at the next one. I frame against the hip. And because he's moved his hip away, I can actually straighten my arm. You just got to be careful when you straighten their arm. You're going to pull it up like Matty did. So now I'm going to drop it a bit lower, so it's a little harder for him to pull my elbow up and clear that hand from pushing. And have a look at that little shoulder shrug away, which is a core movement we use a lot. I'm pummeling my left hand into frame now, so now I have two frames here. I'm going to start working. I will work to escape, but he actually changes from here to go towards north-south, and that's something we'll have a look at at a bit of a later section, but I use this to turn to my knees and get out.
All right. How to clear the crossface. Now, if he's got a crossface here, you're almost never going to pummel under this here. In fact, it's a very bad idea for me to start trying to like reach under here. I just basically make my arm get stuck, and then I can't free my hand, okay? I only want to do this once I have some other frames in, okay? So first my right arm's going to be framing the hip. Once I get my right leg in, I've now, what I can do here if I get my right leg, I don't know, you can see that, I got that frame that we were talking about before. I'll often then push on the hip as well with a straight arm, okay? So this keeps George's hips really far away, okay? Try and drive your hips in towards me, George. That's difficult, okay? Obviously, I'll start to get this frame. Even if he's got the tightest upper body control here, once his hips can't go forward, it's very easy to get your top frame with your arm here, okay? All right, now, I'll try and put my leg in, or I can start to pummel inside this now, okay? I want to clear this crossface. The way you do that, grip the top of your head and then flare your elbow. Now I can come in front of the bicep, okay? If you watch the difference, if I try to come in front of the bicep, just fight that, I can't win that. But if I put my head on top, it's like a little lever to open my elbow. Now see his grip, like keep your grip on my neck, it starts to loosen, okay? Maybe George might have to kind of confirm that, but when I do this, he can't grip tight, and now that my elbow is open, I can start to turn it out onto the front of the bicep and over the top of the tricep with my fingers, okay? So now if he tries to grab my head, see with my elbow open like that, very difficult, okay? My elbow's by my side, he can come back in, okay? So again, once we've made some distance, if we need to get rid of this crossface, tuck your head in, grip the top of your head, flare your elbow, and then we start to come out in front of the bicep with your elbow flared, okay? And now I've got my legs in front, okay? So now we have the tools to get each of our 4 frames. I wanted to teach them individually instead of just as one move to escape side control, because in reality, any order of that is going to be correct. But my aim is to get 4 frames, okay? Once I have frames on the bottom hip, the shoulder, this near shoulder and head, bicep, or potentially on the hip, but I prefer bicep if possible. Now, whichever way George goes, I can follow him, run left and right. Okay? I just keep in this ball structure. He can't put a good amount of weight on me to actually affect me, and I'm here, okay? So now I'm ready to recover back to either half guard or to close guard. Okay, so let's turn this way. Okay. So when I want to recover, control this arm. Okay, it can be the wrist or it could be the bicep. If he's reaching at my head, then I can just stay on the bicep. I've got a gap here where he can't grab my leg. Okay, what I don't want is to try to free my leg and he grabs it. Okay, so I need to either be blocking here or controlling the wrist. Okay, I retract. I move my hips away, not in, but away, and I retract my foot across the hip. Okay, don't step on the hip, because now he can like grab that again and move it. Once you step past the hip, even if he grabs it, where's he gonna do? He can't jam it down and push it to the ground, okay? Then I use that to bring my hips to the right. So I bring my hips to this side of the body. That will take me to close guard, okay? Or from here, you might wanna go into half guard, okay? So we'll cover these guards later. Let's turn a little, George. From here, I've got my frames. I just take my inside leg, shoot it through, and I hook that bottom leg. And now I'm in the half guard where I can start to set up some offense. So let's now look at that as a sequence, okay? We're going to show one other way to escape the standard side control, which is now going to be using an underhook. Okay, so what's the scenario where I would use this? You still are going to frame at first. That's the most important thing. Okay, we get our frames, and then we can start to work our escape. Don't try and escape while they're while they're here. Don't try and throw them off you. Very unlikely to work unless George doesn't know. Like he seriously misplaces his weight, yes, I can throw him off. But otherwise, it's not going to work if he knows what he's doing. I have to get my frames in, okay? Now, what might happen is we get our frames just like before, and then as I try to bring my bottom leg through, George starts running away this way, okay? Like so. And then it's going to be very hard to, as he's running, to get my bottom leg to either the far hip or even to trap this near leg, okay? So what do I have to do? Now's a great time to go the other way with my hips and work towards north-south. So instead of trying to chase my legs back this way, I'm going to move my legs away and work back up to my knees here into what we call front headlock, or which we'll show later on how to get out of that. So when we want to go, we want to get our underhook now, okay? So my left hand, George is pressuring in, trying to be heavy here. My left hand is going to have to pummel from the neck through underneath the shoulder, okay? Now it's really important when you get an underhook, this is a good lesson on underhooks now, I need to stay nice and high if I want to keep George in line with me, which is what I want at the moment. If he went cross body on me here, put your head near my hips, this will kill my underhook and I'm not going to be able to escape, okay? So I want to stay high. If you reach to the waist here, he can go cross body and I lose my ability to escape, okay? So start out high, okay? Then from here, I can start to walk my hips away. And once I'm safe from him going cross body, I can start going low towards the legs a little later. All right. Now, with this hand, if I get an underhook and George cross faces me here, it's not going to work very well, this escape. So I don't just look for this too early. You need to have blocked this arm, which I'll show you what we do for our arm position. But if George puts pressure on that, I start trying to turn, it stops me turning, okay? So I want to do something we call the pillow defense, right? That's where I put my head onto my bicep here, like it's a pillow. So I put my ear pretty much on my bicep, okay? So if I go here, cross face me now, George. Okay. And as long as my chest faces the ground, even try to drive me back flat on my back, okay? That's very difficult to do, okay? Put a lot of weight. Okay? It's very hard to drive me back, okay? So we talked about this earlier, but as I pummel inside, once I get that inside control, if I'm doing this underhook escape, I'm going to put my head on my ear or the back of my head on the bicep, and I start pummeling my underhook at the same time. Okay. Now I have position to do my underhook escape. All right. If you have your head separated, okay, pummel your hand again and get a cross face. Okay, I just lost, even though I had the underhook, I now have a very tough time. Drive me back. He's going to drive me back. Okay, so that's why I want it connected. Okay, even though I can keep blocking the arm, but if he does pummel it, he still can't drive me back. Okay, if your head and arm are disconnected, you can get your head, or particularly, sometimes people pick up the elbow as well, and that can drive me back too. Okay, so we want to put our head on top of our arm. Okay, so now that I get my underhook, I want to start to escape my hips, move away. Okay, I want to use my right hand now to block George from running around. So if you notice here, he's still in front of me sort of as I'm walking around. What I don't want him to do is run around behind me. Okay? Now I'm in I might be even worse position than being in side control because he's starting to go for my back. Okay, so if we go back, my right hand is ready to block. If he goes to run around, I can block. Okay, and I go to my knees. Whichever side he goes, we need to do this action. I've got my pillow defense. As he moves around, my other hand comes up and my inside hand comes nice and tight. As he goes the other way, like this. So see, I'm flat on the ground doing this, okay? So George, try and get behind my back. So run left or right, okay? See, it's easy for me to, how can he stop me rolling like this? And I always have one hand stopping him underhooking, because if he gets an underhook, I wanted my underhook. If he gets his underhook here, which underhook guys means his hand reaches under my arm. If he gets that, he can drive me back with that, okay? So you see, every time I turned to face him, my elbow went to my side, Okay, try and underhook, George. Okay, very difficult to get under that arm. Right. So, let's say we get to here. George is sort of staying in side control. I put my pillow defense. I've got my high underhook here. I start to walk my feet away. It's really important from what we just saw that my chest stays pretty much attached to the ground. Don't try and get up like this. Okay. Here, George can basically drive me back, and I get squashed. Okay. I'm a very easy structure to topple back over here. If I stay low and work from here, he's gonna really struggle to drive me back. So when I get to this, I walk my feet away. I'm going to sprawl my right leg behind my top leg. I'm gonna have to turn to see this. Sorry, gosh. So I'm here, I've got my feet like this, my right leg's gonna come underneath and start to sprawl out. Okay, that's how I get back to my knees. Okay. Even if he's driving heavy, drive me back. Okay, good. And move my hips. I can do, we call it like threading the needle. I thread the foot between that gap. Okay. If he drives heavy and I try to get up to my knees, it will not work. Okay, if I try to get up like this, I can't. Okay, but if I take my leg bridging to counteract his force, take my leg behind my hips and get up to my knees. Okay. So you're gonna end up in this kind of flattened out position like this, and they're in front of you. That's where we wanna go. Anytime they move, we redirect, okay? And now I just wanna build my base back up so I'm in front headlock, okay? Move backwards, not forwards, okay? I'm not in a good position to like try to attack his legs. Okay. So I'm here, I'm not gonna try to like grab his legs and drive for a takedown. It's a bad position to do that. I'm gonna build my base back up. Move backwards, not forwards. So George is pressuring. If I try to get up like this, he'll get around to my back probably. Okay, go to my back. Because I've moved at him, I've made it easier. If I move backwards and away, it's harder. Even if he chases my back, I can get back up a lot easier. Okay. The one other thing you might have to worry about there is they try and get front headlock, so they get a hold of your neck, okay? Like this. All right. Now, to avoid that or make that difficult, I'm gonna put, as I go to get up, I put my head next to my shoulder. Okay? Try and connect just to my chin. Yeah. It's hard to get like try and get a chin strap. It's hard to get a good grip on that, right? He wants like my head open. Okay, now he gets a good grip. When it's attached to my arm, much harder to get. Okay. As I move back, I go like this. Okay. And I'm ready to hand fight if he's trying to get a good choke. Okay. So all together, we're here. We get our underhook nice and high. We get our pillow defense. I start moving my hips away. So kind of hip escape. I want to get to 180 degrees by threading the needle, like so. And then from here, I'm going to build my base up, hand next to my head, and then we're ready to fight from front headlocks. It's significantly improved our position. It is really important when we're using our underhook escape that we do go 180 degrees. If you turn to your knees, as I said, it's really hard to get up if you're not 180 degrees, because here I'm a structure that George can drive back. My feet aren't supporting me. Okay, but when my feet go behind me, it's hard for him to drive me back. Okay, so I can use my legs to, like, he's actually, if he drives into me here, he's actually helping me bring my hips back onto my heels. Okay. The other reason is that you're more likely to give your back if you're side on. So if I get up here and I start trying to get to my knees here, he might start to work from my back. Okay. If I'm 180 degrees to him, I'm the furthest away possible from him running around and taking my back. If the person on top happens to get under this arm, this is a bad thing to happen. I've actually got to watch the head arm choke. Okay, so what he might be trying to do is choke me with his shoulder and his bicep here. Okay. Now usually to finish that, he's going to start to pass to the other side. So he ends up going to the other side. Sprawl. Choke. Maybe have a look at that from the. We turn now. So the head gets to the other side of my body. That arm starts dragging across my neck, and he can finish. Okay. So what's how it works is because he's blocked my arm, I can't turn into my left. Right now, I can't turn to look at it. If I take my arm out of the equation, this wouldn't work because I can turn in. See, he's not facing the front of my neck. He's not going to be able to get good choking pressure. Okay. So we go back. When we're defending this, if Ed's in side control, yeah. If he gets under the arm and he's got like good positioning with his head, one of the first things I would try to do is block the hips so he can't as easily come to the other side. Or once I have my frame, if he tries to go over, I might be able to get my legs in front. Okay, so good. I get my legs in front and now he's lost it. I can actually make space with my legs because I have my guard. Okay, that's a great way to go about it. But let's go back again. I still want to get rid of this control because this is very bad for me. I've got to watch out for the mount as well. Okay, so this is actually one time where I will turn to away from my opponent. I want to bring my arm above my head, and now it's very hard. If Ed's trying to control my arm with his head, it's a lot more difficult, and I can start turning to my left. Okay, now a slight off balance, knocking him this way a little bit. I can start to bring my elbow back in front. And now my elbow is like a normal frame. I lock it by my side so he can't get under. Okay, so again, if he gets under this arm, bring it above your head and start turning, and then start working like back underneath the head. Okay, don't let it get stuck on this side of the head. A very late defense, I don't do this too much, but is to grip the back of your head. So I might do this more so if I couldn't straighten the arm back. See, he's doing a good job actually of locking his hands under my shoulder to minimize that. If he's a bit lower on my back, I might be able to get this even further down. Okay, but he's kind of blocking that where his grip is, which is quite good right now. So if I'm a little late and he starts to come around, I'll often grip the side of my head, opening my elbow as much as I can, trying to turn in. If I can look this way, I've got a chance. Gripping the side of your head, so I think they call this answering the telephone defense. If my elbow is tight, I think I can't turn to my left and he can still choke me pretty good. But if you get this and you can actually flare your elbow side on so it's pressuring against his head, I've got a bit of space now. So now as he goes across, I can start to now bring it above the head second and start to escape. So, scarf hold, or when George has switched his hips to face me. Why would he do this? A very common reaction, if we go back, when I frame the hip, is it might be hard for George to just pull my arm up. So he'll often turn his hips to face me. Now look, I can't do anything with that frame. It doesn't keep his hips up. His hips are still close to me because his right hip's very close to me. And I can't keep him away here. And now he's got some different options to attack. He might start to, he might use that to just pull my arm back up and then come back into a regular side control. That's very common. There are, especially if he comes over the top of this arm, some people go for some submissions that I don't think are very high percentage, but you need to be aware of them. For like these arm locks, a lot of judo players will often go for this. But again, this position here, where you bring your arm over the top, I think again is not such a good position because we're going to escape this pretty frequently. In fact, almost all the time you'll be able to escape the scarf hold, and that will put you in very good position because he's starting to turn his back to me as I start to escape. Okay. Okay, so one of the first things, if you can, when they switch their base, let's say first off we're here. Maybe you've blocked this far arm. This is excellent, okay? If he doesn't have control of my right arm yet, okay? This might happen when he's just come into side control and I managed to block this arm. Now, if you're gonna block this arm, keep it near the elbow with both arms straight at first, because George is going to want to circle the grip. So let's just say with my left hand, right? He's going to want to circle this grip underneath. If I put it at the bicep, circle under my forearm, he can clear that. Okay, so go again, circle under, and then he can start to change or go to another type of side control. And by blocking this, he can't change to a regular side control very well. He can't control my arm. He can't go onto to my head either. Okay, so I got 2 hands on this arm. This is excellent. Okay, right near the elbow. Try and circle now. Okay. He can't get under this forearm because it's like right at the elbow joint. Here, there's more room to come under. Okay, so make sure it is at the elbow. From here, I'm going to try to get up on my right elbow. Really important. This is a very common action we'll use in jiu-jitsu to get up. Bring your elbow above your head and take your head away. Like this, okay? Not like this. This is weak. I'm trying to roll over my elbow. I'm trying to it's like there's a block on the ground and I'm trying to roll the ball over it. That's going to be a very difficult task to do. I want to take it out of the way and make it a post behind me, and I can start to get up on that elbow. Okay. Once I'm here, lifting my hips up, so I put my feet on the ground, hips come up, and then I can shoot my bottom leg through, or I could start working back to my feet as well from here. Okay, so we're going to do this action. Okay. We'll block the arm, elbow comes above the head, start to get up on that elbow. Okay, bridge your hips in, and then either retract your leg or retract and shoot it back through to trap them in the gut. So if we get a chance to, we block this far arm, elbow up, build our base back up, or use that to shoot through. When he's low on my hips, often when I block this far arm, George's answer might be to swing the arm to the other side. Okay, so because he sees this and I'm starting to work to escape, he swings his arm over and he's gonna roll his hips into facing like switch base where he's facing the other way. Okay, we can counter this if we see it coming. Instead of letting his arm settle here, if I'm on this arm, instead of getting up on my right arm, as soon as he goes to switch, I stay on the elbow and I get up on my left arm. Okay? I come up to here, all the way up onto my hand, pushing that elbow. Okay. Now he's got no control. He's facing away from me. I scoot my hips back, and I can recover my legs. Okay. So we go again. From this side. So this is when we're a bit lower. We'll block that arm, and George realizes he can't control it. So make sure your arms stay straight. Probably the mistake I see people make here is like they might try and do it like this. Okay, I've already lost it. My elbow's bent. Okay, he's gonna just grab my head or he's gonna swing it nice and tight. I don't want him here, okay? I need to keep it as wide as possible. As he goes up, I'm here. And then the next mistake is people push and then try and get up. Now I can't get up. He's got his weight on that side. I need to start getting up here. See my elbow coming up. As soon as I let go, elbow's coming above the head and I can now get up on my arm here. I push the elbow. So you can see from this angle, I have great leverage if George tries to turn to face me. Block that, okay? Start turning and escaping my hips. So. In a scenario like this, George is a little higher up with his underhook. I don't feel like this is going to work very well, reaching to this arm here. I don't know if you can see the difference. Before he was quite low. But here, I can get up pretty easy on my elbow. Once his weight's on my upper body, if I get this, I can't get up on that arm. I'm basically making myself stuck. Okay, so what I need to focus on here is my right elbow blocking underneath the hips. It gets dangerous with my elbow sitting in this particular space. Okay, now I can pick it up and then start to work back into a regular side control. by putting my elbow on the ground pretty much and blocking the hip, that's giving me a lot more space. Okay. From here, my hip escape should start to, so I've blocked his hips following me. I should be able to move my hips away and start to shoot my knee through and start to recover. Okay. Let's turn a little. So they switch their base and they're nice and high. Shimmy your shoulders away, drop that elbow. And again, once you drop it, it can't be loose, it has to push back. I'm leaning into it now. Okay, bridge, hip out, shoot that leg through. Okay, now George is probably gonna start to square back up. Very common. We frame, get our frames back, and we use our regular recovery. Right, now we're going to talk about the scaffold where they've reached. So now he's no longer underhooking my arm, he's now reached around my head. Okay, so you notice we've had 3 layers here. One, he was low on the body. Then he was higher on the body. Now he's higher, but his arms come around my head, and he's usually going to be looking to grab my elbow. Okay, so here's what's a dangerous position. A dangerous position would be to have my elbow in front of the hips here and my hand floating. Okay, this is where I can get submitted by the lock on the arm. Okay, so you either want your hand on the far side of the hip, even connecting your hands here like this, which we're going to use a bridge, or you want your elbow on the near side of the hip blocking so that you can't pull my elbow through. Okay, and we're basically going to work a few movements against each other. The first thing we're going to go through is the bridge. Let's assume my arm's been trapped, but it's not in the middle. I'm going to take it to the far side. I'm going to lock on to the hips and keep his torso attached to mine. All right. My aim now is going to be to get my right knee right between his legs. So I'm going to start to bridge into him and start walking my legs further through. Okay, like this. I want to get all the way to here. See, we're in the same line now. Okay. Once I have that, I have excellent position to bridge off both feet, go back, and land on top. Have a look at that from this side. Okay. George has got the head and the arm. I want to connect my hands. Now, if you watch here, if I try to bridge with my feet out away from George, I'm trying to pull him from one side of my body to the other. Unless I'm way stronger, that's not going to work. It's a very weak bridge. What I want is to keep turning into him, bridging in and scooting. Okay. Now see how he's right on top of me. Not very far to start taking him that way. Okay, but don't bridge sideways, because this is very hard to do still. You want to bridge straight back over straight back, kind of looking over your head, over my left shoulder a little bit, and then I go to the side. His legs become very light. If you go back, when I bridge back, all his weight then goes onto his shoulder, and it's easy to take his legs over. Okay, if we go back to where we started, his legs are heavy. If I try to pull his legs over now, I can't do it. Okay, so when we're doing this, bridge into them. The first bridges are just to help get my hips under. Okay, so I'm actually not like trying to throw him over. I'm bridging into him to help bring my hips under. Okay, now that his hips are loaded on mine, bridge back and go across. And you actually end up in very nice positioning from this. So we've just learned a bridge, a really important motion. When you do your bridge, make sure that you stay on your toes and your feet the whole time. So a common mistake I see, people go here and they try and roll over their knees. Okay, I've lost all my power in the bridge now. I want to bridge. I kind of tilt my head away a little so I can really go over my shoulder. Obviously if my head's this way, it jams me. Okay, so I kind of tilt away a bit. I come up on my shoulder. I want to there's 2 ways to get up. If it's easy, I step over. If it's difficult, I thread the needle by taking my leg behind me. Okay, so again, if I stay on my feet though, so I've always got drive. See this? I'm still driving in. If he was trying to get back up, and I can retract my leg, and I'm still driving now with extra support with my left leg. Or if it's easy to get over, you can step, okay? But never go like that, okay? Never put your knees on the ground. This time, we're gonna assume, like the aim was, and if we can, we get our elbow down to the mat. Now my arm is safe. I'm gonna slowly work towards the back or the bridge, okay? So they both work together actually, okay? Now how do I free my elbow? One, if he's not holding it, you might just be able to suck it down. Sometimes you'll bridge and then be able to like use the momentum. Another way, a really common way actually, is to swing your legs up, and then as they drop, there's like use the momentum to twist. Actually, do you want to pop away for a second? So like that. As my weight drops, it gives me momentum to really power my elbow down. Okay. Okay. Once that's dropped, you can connect your hands again, or just keep that down to the mat. That's not of too much concern. I want to stop George from walking his feet away from me. So gripping around here or around the waist or the far side is a good grip to have. Now, there's two things he has to worry about. If I get in close enough, I could start to get the bridge. If he moves away from that, I might be able to knee him in the butt and it'll free my head. Okay. All right. So once my head's free, I'll come out towards his back. Okay. Because my elbow's down. See how his shoulder blocks my head coming out? If I knee him in the butt and kind of turtle my head in, he's lost my head, and I can come out towards the back. Okay. One other thing you can do in here, that's nice twirl, is if my elbow's down again, you got a chance now. If he fights the bridge but he keeps this knee up, I can hook. Okay. Once I have this hook, he cannot run away from me. My leg's got him trapped. I can start to get up on this elbow, drive into him with my right leg, get up on this elbow, and I'll take the back again. Okay, so let's turn. We're here, now let's turn so you can see my right leg. So when I get my hook, I curl back, drive with my right leg, and then I start to take my elbow up, okay? How can he hold? If he tries to hold onto my head here, I hold a headlock. It's not going to be there for very long. We're going to peel that off and come onto the back. And obviously get very good position. In summary, if he's low down on my hips, I'm gonna block this far arm, okay? If I can, get it near the elbow, bring my arm above my head, get up, and either go to stand up or shoot my leg back through. If he reacts to that by swinging his arm to the other side, I get up the other way, pushing his elbow away, and I scoot back. If he's a little higher on my body with this underhook, those defenses are gonna be more difficult, okay? From there, I'm gonna focus on keeping my elbow down in front of the hip, okay? Bridging off my left leg into George, moving my hips away, and slightly kneeing him in the head, but coming back to recover my guard, okay? If he turns in, then I'm gonna start to frame and start to recover from there, okay? If George is now in the scarf hold, okay? So like the grip around the head scarf hold, okay? If my arm's trapped, I'm gonna walk my hips in as close as possible, try and get my knee underneath if possible, bridge off both feet back, and then coming up on top. Okay. If I can, I'm gonna try and suck this elbow free, okay? One good way to do that, swing your legs up, and then as they drop, turn in, and swing the arm, okay? If you mix this with like bumps and making him walk away, it's gonna work really well, okay? Swing up, drop that elbow, okay? Once we have that, if I can, I'll bump him, I'll knee him in the butt and drop and turtle my neck, okay? So pop my head out the back and start coming to the back. Another thing you can do, if you can, is trap that leg as a hook. So if I get this elbow down, I walk towards and I try to trap this leg, okay? Once I hook that, back heeling nice and tight, I drive off my right leg, bridging in, getting up on my elbow, retracting my head, and going to the back.